Hi there, this is Peggy from jeanleedolls Workshop. This is going to be the second tutorial on how to do fingers. I made one earlier today and my sewing machine started messing up and the video was blurry and it was just a ginormous failure. So I'm trying again here. You see we've got the fingers sewn and I still had trouble with my sewing machine here, so I got some garbles here, but I have fray stopped over the top of it and between the fingers. I think you can see that okay. And the fray stop is all dry. I put it on the heater, turned the heater on so it dried pretty quick. So we can go ahead and try to do this today. First of all, you want to do is take your real sharp scissors and cut a 1/4 inch seam allowance around the whole outside of your hand. You sew all around the top of the fingers. Like that. Let's see if you can see that okay, how I've done that. The lighting in here is pretty crappy. It's been raining all day today, so I got the window open trying to see if I can get a good enough light in here to do this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a cut right down between each of these fingers, between our seams, right in the middle. And that's the first place you start. You don't want to try to go around them just yet, around each one just yet. But you want to make those cuts right between them. And you want to get in there pretty close to the base of the finger seam. Just cut really slow when you start getting close to those stitches, because as you can see from that piece of paper, from the piece of fabric I showed you first, when you're doing fingers it's really common to have to start all over because they just are really difficult to work with. Okay, then you go between each finger and you cut a little tiny seam using just the tip of your fingers, little by little by little, as you're going down here. And I'm actually cutting about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance between the fingers. Being very careful as I do it. Trimming away that excess fabric. The one thing I can express to you when you're sewing fingers that is critically important is to just take your time. Don't force them. Don't be rough with them. Be as gentle as you can with them, because fingers really don't like to be pushed or bullied or hurried in any way. It just doesn't pay off. You'll wind up having to start again. And I know that because I've had to make many sets of fingers. Every time I make a doll with fingers, it's pretty difficult. And if you've never made fingers before, I would suggest that you draw a great big hand and try great big fingers first and start with that. Okay, now if I was making this doll and I was going to sell it or I was going to give it to one of my kids or my grandkids, I would not leave this on here. I'd go ahead and take the time to sew another hand and start all over. I would not leave that on there. There's 3 rows of stitches right here because my sewing machine, the tension kept messing up and left that garbled mess on there. But for the sake of saving time today and be able to do this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and leave that on there just so that I can get this tutorial done today, so I can get it posted on YouTube for you guys. Okay, and here is my handy dandy turner. It's a barrel off of a pin that I've taken apart, and it's about 1/4 inch across for these size fingers. And then I have a crochet hook, and I'm going to use the blunt end of the crochet hook. What you do is you put your, whoop, this is on a fold. There's not an arm attached to that. So you put your turning tool inside there, and you go up in the first finger or the thumb as far as you can get up in there with it. Use the blunt end of your tool, and at the same time you're pushing down with the tool, you're pushing up with this hand. So you're actually forcing them to work together. And then you grab a hold of that, hold the finger in there, and then move your turning tool to the next finger and push it to the end. You do that all 5 fingers, very, very gently. Coax that up into the end as far as you can get it. If it doesn't want to go clear at the end, don't make it go clear to the end, because you'll be sorry. It'll poke a hole, it'll break a seam. You can force it out after you get it clear turned. You can go ahead and force it. Make it do it after you get the inside of it turned, or get the whole hand turned right side out. Okay, and there's the thumb. Now we have all the thumb and the fingers inside this hand, and you want to get your hemostats. I showed you these before in a different tutorial. These, oh, that's a pair of scissors. You don't want those. Hemostats. They use them. Doctors use them for like tying stitches and stuff like that, grabbing things. Fishermen use them for tying flies. You can get them at bait shops. My pal Jan told me that's where she located hers. So if you can't find them at a pharmacy or a medical supply store, you can go to your local bait shop and fishing supply store and see if they have them there. These are about 6 inches long. They have a bite about 1.5 or 2 inches long. So you put them in there and you grab a couple fingers, or one finger, whatever you can, and turn it right side out. So I got one finger sticking out there. See if I can get a hold of another one in there. Oop. I don't want to get a hold of the skin of the hand, because then it won't turn. There it comes. There it is. Just be real gentle with it. There's another one. Don't give up. Keep going. Just be real easy with them. There they are. And then spend some time and kind of move those seams and work with them and loosen them up, because they're going to be kind of stiff because of the fray stop. Kind of soften them up a little bit. And then use, I have a paintbrush. It's got a wooden handle. See, I've got a little shorter one here I can use. This is a little shorter one. This will be easier to see. You could use, anytime you can use wood to open up any fabrics or any fingers, it's better to do that, because wood isn't as hard on it. It's not as obtrusive as using metal. Just kind of work it around and roll those seams against that piece of wood. and push the end of the fingers out and just keep working them and keep working them. Gently, 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 gently. Always being as careful as you can. Okay, and I'm going to keep working with these fingers and loosen them up a little bit more. And then I'll have one more tutorial that'll actually teach you how to stuff these little fingers and stuff the hands so that it looks just right. So, okay, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you leaving your comments. I'd like to send a great big thank you out there to Kristina, my pal, for requesting this tutorial. And hands up to you. Thanks for stopping by.